Hey guys, new video here. Whale Fireball in 3.6 Synthesis League. The video I have on the screen is a clip of my character hitting level 100, and this happened a couple days ago, and so I thought I would make the video after I kind of learned the build a little bit better. It is very similar to the other whale skills like Spark, Stormcall, even kind of like Blight, but it is a lot different as well. So this video might be a little bit longer. I'll try to talk a little bit faster so that you guys can get to the juicy parts. But as you can see on the screen, this is Elder, the T16 Haunty Mansion, and it's looking pretty good, right? The build looks fast, the damage is good. If you look at the effective health pool, it looks pretty sexy. Now you have to remember this build initially is a 3k health build. It actually all the way from level like 90 all the way up to 100, it had about 3000 HP. So I just want to show you the gameplay there, because I am dismantling the character very soon. So I just wanted to get that gameplay footage out there. And the thing to know about that map is that I did remove some of the small currencies so that it looks a little bit faster, but the general gameplay, the general EHP, the damage, the juiciness is all there. And this build is focused all around the juice. It uses 3 inspired learnings, and so let's just get right into it, okay? So this is the current character. I'm going to first talk about the Ascendancy. So the reason you go the Pathfinder is because, like all the other whale skills, the Flask effectiveness, every tiny little bit of Flask effectiveness will make your soul catcher a little bit better. So it'll bring down the soul gain prevention time. Okay, there's a ambulance or a fire truck outside. I'm sorry about that, but it'll also make the soul cost a little bit less. So with the Pathfinder and with a Conqueror's Potency Jewel, you're looking at 5 maximum stacks of Fireball. So other things are, there is a smaller hit component. Now this is an ignite based build, but there's a smaller hit component, so the penetration does help a little bit. Obviously, since it's ignite is considered an ailment, so you basically have a free poacher's mark in Veteran Bowyer right here, so really nice. And then obviously the two things here, I mean, everybody knows this already, right? I don't really need to talk too much about this, but you're immune to everything. You're immune to ignite, you're immune to shock, you're immune to freeze, and that helps you out in whatever maps you're doing. Also, like, not having a chance to just have free flasks is really nice. And this is just for movement speed, right? We don't attack or anything, but we do have the movement speed, and the movement speed helps you zoom around the map a little bit better. As far as the skill tree, you can see it's a little bit different than some of the other whale skills, because look at this. These little circles here, right here, that is an inspired learning. Inspired learning and basically makes it so you have 4 notables allocated inside the radius, and the thing has to be like mostly inside the radius. It can't be like, you see this right here, like this one, that one's like mostly outside, so that doesn't count. But so as long as you have 4 of these big boys allocated inside, see 1, 2, 3, 4, when you kill a rare, you will gain all their mods. You'll gain one of their mods for 20 seconds, right? And so you can think of this as like you have X number of mods, and the inspired learning will choose 1. And the more inspireds you have, it'll choose 1 for each inspired learning you have, and it is not mutually exclusive. Meaning, if I steal a energy shield aura, or an energy shield conversion, or a deadly mod, or like what have you, right? Speed mod. These things stack up. So like stealing 1 mod doesn't stop the other inspireds from stealing that same mod. That's very important when you're choosing like how many you want to get, right? So I have 3 of them. I have 1 right here, I have 1 right here, and I have 1 over here, right? So, and the one bad thing is that the inspired learnings, it makes you like you really need more levels, and it makes you stretch out the tree a little bit, and also you sometimes have to take nodes that don't do anything for you. For example, like I could have taken this Soul Thief here, but I chose to take this, and then I could have taken like, for example, I could have taken Mysticism up here, and that I would have taken if I got the Arcane Expanse right here. This is actually really good if you care about just a little bit of overlap, a little bit extra shotgunning here. But like you see this node right here, it doesn't do anything for me because I don't use a staff, I'm using a bow. And this one right here is like dual wielding, and I don't dual wield. So like sometimes when you do inspired learning, nodes are essentially wasted. And if you have a hard time gaining a lot of levels, if you have a hard time getting a character like the skill tree set up like that, you might have a little bit of issues. You might be lacking damage, things like that. Okay, so the inspires are the little circles. This one right here, I have an intuitive leap just so I can get all the charges very consistently. If you watch the video, I'll always have every single charge up. And then some nice notes here are melding. Okay, up here, the rolling flames, I have 2 of these. All you gotta make sure of is that you have the 40 int inside the radius, doesn't need to be allocated. And so basically, like a fireball, like whale fireball, probably has the most AoE in the entire game. When you think about just when you press that button, right, with things lined up, how much AoE can you get for one activation? I think Fireball has it because like it lasts a long time. The fireballs swirl twice. Projectiles travel really far. They gain up to like 8 radius as they get really far away, and of course they explode. That's like a true AoE right there. And then like, of course, burn is prolift, so things spawn in. That's also gonna kill. So like in terms of like just when you think of all the AoE, Fireball probably has the best clear. And now you might be wondering, like, what then why are you doing the haunty mansions, right? Because like, wouldn't a bigger map be better? And the map choice, something to talk about here is that you really want the Beyonds to spawn, right? Because Proliths will kill the Beyonds, all but one Prolith will kill all the Beyonds except for the biggest bosses, you know. And so you kind of want to focus on density, right? I think Barrows is a really good balance because very spiky in the Beyond spawn, and Barrows also has outdoor, so you should just run around the edge. You can clear everything as long as you're fast at looting. So basically, try to pick a map that has a lot of monsters for this, right? Because the more monsters, the more Beyond spawn, and then like your inspired learnings will kind of take over and they'll ramp you up to crazy heights. Okay, even though you start at 3k HP. So get two rolling flames. Now the implicits I choose to go with, and it's pretty cheap, is cannot be cursed with silence. Very rare curse actually, but when you get silence, you know, you won't be able to use your regular fireball, you won't be able to use your flame dash, your whale fireball, and that could be a little bit deadly. So I just decided, you know what, let's get rid of that. And of course a corrupting blood, because you know, for the magic and the rare mobs, they can inflict corrupting blood on you. You definitely don't want that. The regular bleeds, you have enough recovery where you don't really care too much about the regular bleeds, right? Not that deadly. And then as for my last jewel, I have a very nice Watcher's Eye here. Now this Watcher's Eye, you definitely the thing that you definitely need instead of like regardless of anything else is the malevolence. Damaging ailments, it deals damage 15% faster, right? You can think of that because this is a full-blown ignite build, does have a hit component once again, so I can apply ally weakness, despair, things like that. Because it is mostly a dot build, this is essentially a 50% more modifier. The other one, second most important, I would say, is grace, just to move a little bit faster at the start of a map. Eventually, with 3 inspired learnings, you won't be able to control your character. It's just, you're running so fast, you're so big, you can't see anything. So this is important just for the start of a map, or if you get unlucky with your inspired and headhunter stealing. Okay. And I was lucky enough to whoop this one for 3 exalts, and I was able to get another one, the increased recovery rate of life and ES. So you have any kind of life leech, life regen, energy shield regen, energy shield leech, that is multiplied by up to 20% if I were to divine this. So that one's just an extra bonus, but definitely not necessary. Only that bottom line is the Watcher's Eye you should go for, and that is probably about 1 exalt right now. So a really nice Watcher's Eye to have. I wouldn't really use anything else. I've already talked about the inspired learnings and stuff. So that's basically the tree, right? Like, I'm trying to save as many points as I can. Like, I didn't even go through like the life here, like the damage here, because that doesn't really matter for the ignite. And so this is currently the tree. I could have also gone with an inspired learning right here, right here. But if I go over here, like I have some like resist here, you know, and then like I have like charges, I have a little bit of life and aura stuff, and so this is like okay, right? And I'm like over here anyway, so it was kind of like, yeah, why not, right? But yeah, inspired learning could also go right here if you so choose to do so. So that's the tree. Let's talk about the gear. So you want a bow. You probably want a bow with as much levels as you can. This bow basically gives me a level 32 fireball. The 32 fireball, the reason that the levels are so important is because if you look in PoE, ignite is like kind of hard to scale. It scales very well from levels, but and then I mean it scales a little bit from things like just like increased damage, fire damage, burning damage, things like that on the tree, on jewels, and also added on abyssals and things like that. But they are a far cry away from just adding flat levels. So this, if you use an Empower and you use a Fireball here, you are just going to have a massive Ignite, okay? And that is, I'd say the best way to scale the Ignite. Other things, you know, you have the burning damage, you have the combustion, you have the prolif, and then you have the deadly ailments. This is all to make sure that your Ignite is as fat as possible. A lot of times you watch the gameplay, you know, it basically feels like because you have a hit component as well, and you're applying curses and all that, the enemies, it doesn't even seem like a dot, right? Like, what's that term? Like, damage over now is kind of the how the build feels most of the time. So get yourself a bow. This is like a really expensive one, right? But you can get one with maybe just like one implicit and then try to multi-mod like the +2 support gems, right? And maybe get a socketed gems in there somewhere, and then you should be okay. I was using a backup bow that had a few levels less than this, right? And that one, it felt almost identical, right? This is what I could afford here. As for the gloves, so I'm using Null and Void because I have 3k HP, and the gloves, that physical damage immunity, you get that 13 times between 0 and 530 kills for Rampage, so it is up a lot of time. It's not gonna make you immune to physical, but it will help you a little bit in those tight spots. Moving on with ailments, your Pathfinder doesn't matter, but the life and the strength is pretty nice. And I would say an LE weakness will give you the best damage on an implicit, but I couldn't find a Null and Void because they're rare. So I decided to go with a level 11 Despair on hit, and basically the Despair makes your dots better, so it helps a little bit, not as much as LE weakness, but it is something, right? Let's talk about the chest. Chest is the queen of the forest because you want to go faster. I chose +1 max res because it's a 5 link, by the way, but I chose +1 max res just for some extra defenses. What is that, like 4% less damage if you go from 75 76. And I put in here a temporal chains, right? Temporal chains linked with blasphemy, so it's an aura, and then also with the enhanced to make the temp chains better, and empowered to make the temp chains a tiny bit better. And then this could either be conch or ink. So if I have a +1 curse, which I would actually have up here, this is just like a new character, by the way, but usually I would have Whispers of Doom here, then I'll put an ink AoE, so it affects way more. If you don't have +1 curse, but you still want to use a Solstice Virgil, which will give you free temp chains no matter what's linked to it, you can use a conch effect, so that way the temp chains will not override the LE weakness or the despair that you apply farther away from your character. But when a character gets into the danger zone to attack you very close to you, it will be applied with the temp chains. Remember, it's even if you have 1 curse, the blasphemy will override any like on hit if curses and things like that. So you will be protected when it's necessary. But I'll just say go Whispers of Doom, 4 points right here, or 3 points if you're lower level, and it'll give you a free temp chains. Very helpful in the Nexus, where mobs will spawn directly on your butt when you click on the memory stabilizer. Belt is a headhunter. Headhunter is very nice with because this is a full potato build, right? This is actually a headhunter build because it is 3 inspired learnings, and you're gonna have, look at this, I have 3.5k health on this guy. You're gonna get wrecked if you don't stack up or ramp up very fast. So this belt makes this build like real juicy. As for the booties, I just chose anything that had the fastest movement speed. These cost me a little over an exalt because I used a fractured fossil service, so I guess over 2 exalts. Fractured fossil service was the first craft I got. Not that great, but it's something, right? As for the rings, shore up your resist. That's like really the only thing that matters, right? Get some life if you can. Shore up your resist, because resist, you're gonna be feeling the lack of resist a little bit on this build, right? I have resist on my jewel down here, right? And so yeah, just shore up your resist. That's all you care about. This amulet, nothing to say here. I kind of use this on like pretty much every mapping build now because it extends your buffs and, well, it extends every effect on you by probably like what, 50%. So you are ramping up and you're juicier of a character for longer, right? More EHP, more damage for longer, and it really helps you out. And free temp chains is pretty nice as well. Quiver, Rigval's just gives you free fork, so when your fireball hits, 2 more projectiles spawn. So nice coverage, you know, some pseudo shotgunning effect there, and the other stats don't really matter. Okay, just because you're using a bow, you can use a free quiver for whatever reason. If you want to use like some synthesized quiver, you can go ahead and craft on that too. Helmet, I crafted this myself. Helmets are absolutely self-craftable, I would say. Like, even if you're a noob, experienced player, use a pristine, use a hollow fossil, use a use a scorched fossil for the negatives to try to get -9 if you can, and then maybe a sanctified if you want to have better chance of better rolls. But they are like low variance. You will get a very nice helmet, and Abyssal Socket helps a lot, right? As for the enchant, I like Fireball cast speed because I like getting out of the animation faster, but 40% increased Fireball damage is also good, and that does apply to the ignite, so that's also something to consider. Flasks, you're gonna get a Cinder Swell. Cinder Swell is like big recovery, right? Because like Leech sometimes is ineffective, but this recovery is like a mini Patient Reaper, right? And so you'll get this stuff back instantly, and since you're killing so many mobs all the time, you're basically think about like almost like a whale pack from before, where you're just jumping up and down very fast. Soul Catcher, necessary for all whale builds. Talked about this enough before. Alchemist, Quicksilver, Flask of Adrenaline. Try to get a 26% one if you can. 30% movement speed is the highest roll. It'll make you a little bit faster. Jade Flask. Okay, so this is a big thing to talk about here. If you take a Jade Flask of Warding, you will not have the evasion necessary to meet your Queen of the Forest requirement, right? You'll essentially lose 40% movement speed. The way to combat this is to get Abyssal Jewels with 3 Abyssal Jewels, totaling 100% increased evasion rating while moving. Abyssal Jewels can roll up to 35% evasion rating while moving. If you get 3 of them, you have the reflexes. That would be the suffix on the Jade Flask, right? So I can show you right here. This one right here, this is my reflexes. See, if I pop this one, you can see I'm 45k is the Queen of Forest cap. Boom, I got it, right? I take it off, I put it on this. Look, I only have 23k, but if I had the Abyssal Jewels, I would have 45k. So that's one way you can get around that. And then, or another thing you do is you can just like have a Warding Flask and use it for the maps in which you are scared of the curse. So Alley Weakness and maybe Temp Chains. So that's something you can do there. And then the Lavianjas, I talked about this in my Stormclaw video, but Lavianjas is actually amazing because you're going to hit your Soul Catcher, you're going to hit your Lavianjas like that. Obviously, I didn't cast anything, but if I cast something like this and I hit both like that, you see that right there? Just for that duration, everything is free, everything. And because you're a Pathfinder, you always have all your flasks up. That is going to allow you to, when you have Soul Eater and things like that, you're going to spam your regular Fireball, you're going to spam your Whale Fireball, you spam your Flame Dash, like you can spam everything, and it adds a massive amount of utility and damage and quality of life. So make sure you use this with this build. I wouldn't play without it anymore. And that's pretty much the build. So like not that long of a video. I mean, I feel like the whale skills have been talked about enough. I don't need to go into too much detail about like stacks and things like that. You can watch my other videos for that, but the build is pretty fun. Not a great build. I can't say it's a good build, but it is very, very fun. Okay, like since I haven't played Fireball in so long, some of the most fun I've had. You're running around, you're igniting, you have a cool green. Oh, also the Cinder Swallow urn gives you a green ignite and green prolift, so free MTX by the way. And so you're just running around at the speed of light. Like your character is huge, the ramp up is very nice, and it's just fun. All right, and I got to level 100. No, it didn't take that long, and 3k health by the way. So you can play this for a while, and I don't think you'll get sick of it if you haven't played this. Since the good old whale Fireball days. Okay, that's the video, guys. If you have any questions, you can ask below. Okay, thank you everyone. Bye. Thank you everyone.